4-minute video. Imagine you are in the breakout rooms and a student asks you to answer a question you do not know the answer to. How would you respond to that? I think it is very important for me to accept that I do not know the answer. And I believe that people do not know all the answers in their head. So if I accept that I do not know, then I might be able to help my students in a more different way than giving them some inadequate answer. So I think the first important is that I need to accept that I do not know the answer. And secondly, I have worked as a teaching assistant for the introduction to computer science class previously, and I have observed that whenever a student asks any questions to professor or TAs, and if they are not able to answer their answer to the question of the students, then the students might assume that their question is senseless and it doesn't make sense. So I think it is very important to give credit to the students whenever they ask questions if I'm not able to give them the answer. So this will actually boost the confidence. So this is something that I can also do. And so whenever students ask any question to me, and if I'm not able to do tell the answer, then the first thing that I can do is actually ask the other pod members in our group. So this will facilitate more conversation and more participation in the class. So this is one thing that I can do. And secondly, if the pod members of the other students doesn't know the answer to the question that are asked by other students, and I know that that answer can be found in any other internet articles or through the slides provided by the code part, then I can direct my students to that slide or the through that internet sources. So that is something that I can also do. And thirdly, if the other students and even myself, I do not know answer to that particular question, so I think I can communicate with my students and tell them that at this point of the time I do not have the answer, and then I will reach out to them whenever I have answer. And I know that CodePath uses a medium such as Slack where I can interact with my students. So whenever I get my answer, I can like communicate with them and then tell them the answer. And at the same point, I will also provide them the resources through which, or like resources or the articles where I got my answer. So this will make them provide them more information. And lastly, like whenever I provide them the answer, and if it doesn't make sense to them, then I can also encourage my students to come to my office hours such that they can get a more productive and the more useful answer. So these are all the ways where I think if I do not know the answer, then I can might be able to help my students in a more informed way. So thank you. So now I will go through my second question. The second question asks about, you have joined a pod during breakout session and with about 5 students in the room, all the cameras are off, there is no active participation. How do you encourage engagement within your pod and facilitate discussion? uh, I think it is very important for students to understand the certain guidelines that are set by the code path whenever they take the code path class. So if code path says that all students are required to open the cameras during the class, then I think they need to be make aware about the fact that they have to open the cameras as per the guidelines. So this is the first thing that I can do. And as I previously worked, as I said, worked as the teaching assistant in my intro to CS class. So what I did during that class was I remember the name of every of my student to build the good relationship with them. So whenever I'm working with the five, let's say five pod members in the class, then I can, like, because I will know the name of every student, I can sometimes, if they are not focusing on the conversation or not participating, I can call them by their respective name and ask them to like any questions, so that there will be a more participation in the class. And so that is something I can do. And I also understand that sometimes some students do not feel confident on asking the question during the video. So I would also encourage them to ask the questions through the chat. This will make the class more productive and more interactive. And I also plan to implement the more fun way of uh, asking students to open the cameras. For example, I can ask them to let us, so I can say, let us play the game such as paper scissors rocker, and we know that we need our fingers or hands when we play that game. So students have to open their cameras, like to show their fingers or their hands whenever we play this game. So this might be a very fun way of asking them to indirectly open their cameras. So I can also like try to implement this way of fun way of like asking them to open the answer. And I also would like to implement some certain standards, like there will be a specific time during the class, and no matter what, they have to open the class. For example, let us assume that we are working together to code up one of the problem. So this might be a specific time where students have to open their cameras, like nonetheless like what they are doing. So this, I will set up some standard time, like so much specific time they have to open their cameras, which I feel that might be a very important part of the class. And lastly, I also believe that sometimes like we are not able to open the cameras due to some personal reasons. So I also plan to ask students to like inform code part team or even the TAs before the class to inform about their condition. And if I feel or even the code part team feels that this is a valid reason, then we can move forward with that. So I believe that this.
Now I want to go on the third question, but before going into third question, I just want to mention that I'm recording this video on the another day, and for some reason my camera isn't working, so I'm recording through my mobile phone. So apologies for not being able to open the camera, but yeah, I do want to continue with the prompt 3 questions. So the question says, part of the TF role is to build community on your campus. How would you foster growth within the CodePath community? So the first thing is I have previously worked as the teaching fellow in the CodePath. I was under Introduction to Web Development 02. So I have that previous experience of recruiting students from Fisk University. I have recruited around 12 students from the campus, and we had around 40 students applying to a code path. So I believe that that was a good number. So I can use my previous experience to recruit more students. And some of the things that I did previously was I organized some sessions and helping students know about the code path. And when students knew that it was a free program, then students were interested in applying to program more. And I also held some programs where I would help them to apply to the programs and also give additional support. So I will also use those previous experiences and my learning in this semester. And apart from that, I will create a welcoming and inclusive environment, and by cultivating atmosphere that values diversity, respect, and collaboration. And I ensure that every student is feeling comfortable while they are applying to this program. I also work as the president of the Computer Science Club at Fisk University. So I will leverage existing campus resources, student clubs, and relevant organization to establish a network of supports to students and also reach broader audience, and such that every students know about this program and they have enough information to apply to this program. Apart from that, I will also work as a mentor to the students, such that I will be providing all the relevant informations while they are applying to this program, and so on. So apart from that, I will also make sure to thrive CodePath community campus. So this approach will not only engage and support existing member, but also attract new students, thereby increasing applicants and further strengthening the community's growth. And apart from that, I do have on my knowledge that we have some students, previous core path students, so I will also make sure that those students are also helping with the new coming applicants. So these are all the things I will be doing to bring up more applicants. So yeah, as I said, I have the previous experience of working as the TF, so I will leverage all my experiences and my learning to help students and do as much as I could. So I'm very excited for this role, and I have that I will be able to continue with this role. And yeah, thank you so much. And again, apology for not being able to open the camera for this third response. So I look forward for all the upcoming news and opportunities. Thank you.